We have yellow ones out too. No choice.
Hey, Chris, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing pretty
So
good.
everyone is aware, Chambers is unmuted.
Okay.
Thank you.
That's our key. I can't.
Isabella's counting the days, you know? Shit, I gotta go
All good.
again before.
I wonder which screen those.
Get her.
These little green notepads on our.
I'll go till the ninth and she'll be home
Well, every
on the
got some.
first or something like that.
Did you get the
Fast.
power outage all taken care of there? Yeah, for the time being.
Thanks, Amanda. I'm passing them out.
All right, I think we can.
Oh, I'm not on your committee.
Last night too.
I made them last night, so I'm not gonna make it tonight.
Nothing for this one.
I won't.
Hide behind.
Christina, everybody ready?
I'm not on this committee, but I'm ready.
That's you.
You can pay me now, so.
Oh my God.
You have.
Well, I'm ready.
Do you have enough form?
I think I'm pretty sure I got your sheets.
No, I
Chris
know.
is here.
Oh, you needed eight.
No, Heidi's not here. There's Aileen.
Okay, let's-
He's here.
Let's get it rolling.
Coming in from the cheap seats.
Don't you need?
They got enough.
Okay.
Yes, she is.
You waiting for me?
Just here.
Okay.
Actually, no, we're-
I don't have the stuff here. I wasn't here.
Chris, did you, well, you can draw it. All right. Call the meeting to order. You can please stand for the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the
Flag of the United States of America. and
to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Minutes to approve. Move it. Motion, second, please.
Second?
Motion in a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried. We have no appointments. Mr. Camardo, I know is here. I don't know, is Keith on or is it?
Just me.
Okay. Any updates?
You have my report. As everybody knows, we've been going through the petition process. Everything went very, very well. Our next, we'll be looking at buying new voting machines. So hopefully that'll be in the next couple of months. We'll be reviewing, looking to replace the voting machines, which are approximately 10 to 12 years old. So that's our next big purchase in the future. So if there's any other questions, I'd be happy to answer any questions you have from my report in front of you.
No questions?
Let's go back to the old machines that were.
One statement.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Sheila.
Yep, you have my report. Does anybody have any questions on the foils or policies that we're working on? And I do have 2 resolutions.
Well, I don't hear any questions,
Okay.
so we can address the resolutions at the end, unless anybody has questions for Sheila regarding the resolutions. I think they're pretty self-explanatory.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Sheila. Mr. Palermo, I think you have some stuff for us
I
tonight.
do. Actually, one of them relates to Sheila. She's been working very, very hard on cleaning up the county policy, putting it together under departments and there is a section 49 of the Cayuga County Policy Manual, which addresses spending. All of this has been superseded by the purchasing policy, the inclusion of a purchasing agent, county auditor, all these financial controls that we put in place. This policy really should be repealed. But I will point out that there, at the time, there was apparently an overzealous chair of Ways and Means that I think was adopted. I don't know what he was thinking. Anyway, I'd like to be directed to prepare a resolution rescinding section 49 in time for Ways. And if that's acceptable to the committee, I will do so. I don't know if Sheila,
Yeah, Chris.
do you have anything you want to add to that?
No, nope, it can be said as long as you're okay with it going to Ways and Means, that we can put it on.
Okay.
So, I have a motion from Mr. Shea. Can I have a second, please?
Second, Lydia.
Okay, we have a motion and a second discussion. And-
This
yeah.
is just, we're just getting this now, right? I didn't see this.
I'm sorry?
Is this an email too or no? Okay, I was gonna say, I haven't seen it. So this is just for a spending plan for departments. Is that what they're changing? Or are you changing?
This policy will be eliminated.
Gotcha.
Sheila's going through every one of the county policies, putting them under, rather than having one big numerical list, I think, for county policies. She's putting them under departments and really doing a wonderful job of organizing them, getting ready to set the review schedules. And this one popped up and she came to me and today, in fact, and said, this policy is obsolete.
Okay.
And I said, well, who's the dumbass that
One is
did
for,
that one? Sorry, I saw my name on it. I thought, oh, geez, wonderful.
Aileen, one packet that you were given, I think, is for discussion, that
Okay.
one, and this one is what we're moving.
Thank you. Thanks. I'm good with it.
So,
Any further discussion?
yes, Jim Basile.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so to follow up with Aileen's question, will we get something prior to Ways and Means to look at?
You sure will, Jim. In fact, I'll send it to you right now. I printed up enough copies for everybody. But, so I'll send it to you because I'm enjoying your seat at the moment. So I will have that to you momentarily.
Yeah, well, listen, don't try to feel the power.
No, I wouldn't do that. I've been here before and I still have the nameplate. Right district.
There you go. Thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right, any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
I,
Opposed, carried. All right, so Chris, there's another one, the second packet that you wanted to bring forward for discussion for a later time, correct?
Yes. I handed it out to everybody and I guess I'd just like you to read it, digest it, contemplate it. These are proposed changes to the rules of order. And I do apologize. I know that the legislative meeting time was changed. It wasn't in this copy, but it is that there's several things that are just obsolete. For example, I think it's on page, third page in, Rule 9, claims. All claims are itemized by the claimant. It dates back to when Ways and Means used to sit there and sign every voucher. We have an auditor that does all this. So to me, it just doesn't make any sense.
Page 5, if I could, I'd like, one thing that stands out to me, if I could draw attention to it. Chris, I'm not taking credit for it, at Chris's behest. Page 5, number 2, 17. It's the February legislature meeting, the board shall adopt a resolution setting the salary for those elected officers, which will be on the ballot for the following November. Said resolution shall set forth the salary for each year of the elected officer's term. So essentially what we'd be doing is setting the salary before the candidates are even, probably announced. And I think that's prudent. So that's just one thing I wanted to bring your attention to.
It's fair.
Thanks, Chris.
No matter who's running, you don't even know yet. You're setting the salary for the office. And then B is 17B. These will be the addition. Upon approving the resolution adopting the budget for the following fiscal year, usually it's in November, the legislature shall adopt a resolution setting the salary for each appointed office that will be filled the following year. Said resolution shall set forth the salary for each year the appointed public officer's term. I do that with up to 12 mistakes there. But the process that we've been doing for at least 17 years has been largely setting that by local law. When we do that, the local law is subject to a permissive referendum, which allows the citizens 45 days to file a petition and forcing it onto the ballot in November. So if you wanted to, and that applies to electeds or appointeds. So changing their salaries during their term is absolutely a disfavored method. To do it properly, in my view, the only thing you need is a resolution. And that just happens before the term begins. It's that simple. You guys are the representatives, you decide. The salaries can be flat for every year of the term. They can even go down. Whatever you guys think. Point is, set them ahead of time. That's really all that I guess is recommended.
Yes, Haley?
So there's obviously going to be a number of changes with this
I hope so.
going to 11
Next year, yeah,
this
but
year. And that's, I mean, that would come in January.
yes,
You need to prepare for it and think about it.
right, committee sizes, all that.
Right.
And
Be voting.
please
that
feel
out.
free to jot down anything you think of.
Got it already marked up.
Okay, good. I mean, whatever you can think of.
Because we can't wait till the last second.
No.
One to make.
No, I'd like to have them, I'd like to amend the, I mean, if it's all right, I'd like to amend them now. With the exception of the changes for the 11-member board, but also have drafted the next set of rules for the, and that's a major change. You know, and that's something that you guys are gonna have to decide. How many committees are we gonna have? Are you gonna merge some of the department? I don't know what you're gonna do. So I guess, you know, roll it around in your heads and think about it.
Any other questions?
I have a question about the weighted voting. When will we be getting the numbers of how many residents in each district in order to make these determinations?
I think you already have
Yes.
the residents for each of the new districts.
It's old information, right?
Well, it's 2020. So, but I don't think you're gonna get, you won't till the next decennial census. Numbers. And as far as the way of voting, I was overruled by the attorneys in my office. I suggested that you still maintain weighted voting. Although it does not make, there will never be right now we have the possibility of Lean and Andy being on the same side of an issue. And only 7 people can carry a resolution, 8 being against it. That it won't happen. So, but I like to see the weight, you know, who votes where and how much and I don't know.
All right, Mark, did you have a question?
I do, and I just want to be clear. Lydia, are you asking weighted vote numbers for next year when we move to 11? There won't be any weighted voting.
Population within 2.5%.
One person.
one vote.
Yes.
I understand that in theory. But people have continued to move. So I fear that we will not be accurate, but the answer was, we're basing it on the 2027 consensus.
Yep.
So that's where we stand until the next one.
And to add to that, the next census, you've got a 4-year term coming up. No matter what, you got 4 years. There's been discussion and questions on how to go about staggering them again. When you stagger them again, you know, after you got the 2020 census, now you got in 2023, another 4 years, takes you to 28, stagger the terms, then the 2030 census is going to be done. I don't know.
Well, we didn't move it. We haven't moved it every 10 years.
No, it's been
Just
within,
it
and
Until now.
Yeah.
So
do whatever-
I think we're like, thought on the next census.
just want you to think about it. Just have it in your mind, that's all.
Maybe it'll grow.
I don't know.
In either
Sterling,
case, it'll change.
Sterling is growing, you know, like crazy. I don't. really-
Maybe the next legislature can form a charter And the charter can address redistricting mandate even. Anywho.
I think that this Jim Basile, I think that's for another day. We're getting into the weeds.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We'll move on.
Please. Let's get through this one and this election cycle.
All right, Mr. Palermo, do you have anything else to add? Before Mr.
No,
Basile?
no, I'm in Jim's seat and I certainly don't, I
He's certain-
don't want him to hit his eject button.
All right, thanks, Chris. Sue Dwyer is next, the county clerk. I know she has some stuff to add, but I just wanted to mention, I'm guessing, Sue, this was you that put the donate life things on everybody's desk. I also wanted to bring up, am I gonna get donate life month? So like to call that to your attentions and consider that as an option, and otherwise, Sue. What?
One of our legislators is a live donor. That would be Lydia. And that is big. I'm sorry, that's quite big. So, and I hope you all consider, if you're not already, Yep, I put those little frogs on there. They're doing pretty good. I just wanted to give you a couple updates. We had a big month for mortgage tax in the county clerk's reporting office. We had 4 commercial mortgages that total just under $40 million. And that equals more money for the treasurer, more money for central, more money for a Sunny May, and all those things that we send it to. But the big thing is more to the treasurer. That's always good. We're really, really busy with passports, and they're now taking 10 to 13 weeks for routine processing. And so they only expect that to go up to longer times, and we have nothing to do with that, but I just wanted to bring that to people's attention. People want to travel and they're coming in to get them, and our appointments are busy, and so that's going well, and that's money for the county as well. And we, our online revenue for the records, people pay for subscriptions for it. That's going really well, and I always bring this up for Tom Bunn because we'd like to give them that revenue next year. I'm not going to be here, so you'll have to fight it out, but that's what I think is important because they pay the bill for a vendor every month, and so that's only fair. So far, we get quarterly money for it. It's $13,310, so that could help with some of the expenses. So I always like to have partnership with Tom. I was pleasantly surprised to have a meeting with CETA. Lauren LaGreca and Paul Viviano came to visit me, and we sat down for an hour and talked about how our 2 offices do similar things, and we complement each other. We send them all of our DBA corporations information every month online, and we refer people to their free services all the time. So it was great to see them. We looked at our packet that we give to every new business owner, and they are going to update that. And it was a good exchange. That's why I want to thank them for that. That's really nice. Our Dreams project is kind of moving forward a little bit, kind of just did a stop in one way, but one thing for sure, our pilot, all the boxes came back, everything was accurate. We're really excited about moving it forward. I had a meeting with Surrogates Court. They have a lot of records in our record center. They have a new chief clerk, so we have a plan for them to get some of that out of the record center when it's time, and also maybe even having one of my retirees do some work for them. They need somebody to tear apart these papers and take out the wills, because you can't destroy a will ever. So there's people in my office that know courts very well. So it's, that's something that they're interested in. That's the Office of Court Administration, so nothing to do with our budget. So the DMV, I don't know if anybody was here the day after we came back from Easter, but I have never seen so many people in DMV and before COVID. I mean, there was so many people in there, but crying babies, the whole thing. But we did get a lot of time to talk to people about organ donations, so that wasn't bad. And they're busy. They continue to be busy. People are doing boats and what else is going on?
Motorcycles.
Motorcycles, yeah, that's big. One thing that we're trying to do there, the program that's for people who have drunk driving, they have to have an IDP program. And for almost a year now, maybe even longer, we haven't had an IDP program for these people once they get convicted and they have to go through this whole program. They've had to go to Syracuse for this. It's bad enough they're not driving. Now they've got to find a way to Syracuse, find a way to work and everything else. Not feeling sorry for people who drunk drive, but this is a service that is very, very important. It used to be through BOCES, okay? BOCES no longer does it. So there is a company that, a person that was interested in it, and the state said, you know, we're not really gonna do any more of those or allow those for now for at least, 6 or 8 months, 10 months, a year, whatever. So we're going to go and see if we can change that. Because if somebody's interested in doing that, it would really help the people that are in this situation. The DMV commissioner, the state commissioner, is going to visit us on the 28th and talk about organ donation. He's a big fan of that, and he wants to beat the top state. So there's one state that's ahead of us, and he wants to beat them. And so I don't know what he's going to do when he comes in, but he's going to have a talk with all the staff, but also us. And we're still trying to get our mobile unit at the jail hooked up, the DMV unit, so we can provide IDs to people before they get out of jail. So they have a better chance of succeeding when they get out. So there's a couple glitches, not our IT, but it is a technical thing with the state. No surprise, they're just having to struggle with it. But we're not gonna let it go. And I'm gonna talk to the commissioner about it. It's not done by them to put pressure. So that's all I have. And I want to thank everybody for supporting, coming out to support, being at our flag raising, bringing your dog. So in every picture, the dog was back.
He was being
He did not
obstinate.
want to show his face. So it's so cute. But we appreciate the support, and the chairman was there to raise the flag. So thank you. Anybody got questions? Yeah.
What is IDP?
It's the, I'll tell you what it is. Let's see. It's an acronym for Impaired Driver Program. Thank you. Oh, you would know that. What's right there? Yeah, the IDP, Impaired Driving Program.
Is it a special license system?
No, they have to go through, if you are convicted of a drug driving offense, then you have to go through this program to get your license back. There we go.
Oh, okay. And so right
So-
now they go to Syracuse.
So this is really, really important. So, it's gonna happen. We're gonna try our best to get it, argue about it a little bit.
Yes, Lydia.
Thank you. You said that you had a 12 or 13 week lead time for passports currently. And I understand that there's an expedited opportunity. And if that is the case, what is the cost and how much time does that cut off of the 12 to 13 weeks?
So 10 to 13 is routine, and right now 9 to 11 weeks is expedite. That's really a long time. It used to be 4 to 6 weeks. So, and it costs $60 more total to expedite. And then if you want what we call triple, double, quadruple expedite, you can overnight it there and overnight it back, and that's a lot more money, but you could do that. And then if you have less than 2 weeks before you're leaving, you have to try to get an appointment at whatever passport facility you want, but the best one to go to is the Buffalo Passport Agency. It's a relatively small city compared to Philadelphia, New York, and more personal, but they are really, really packed with, they used to be able to walk in and get an appointment. You can't do it anymore. And then we have our congressional people that will also help. So if there is something where a relative passed, they're in a different country, we can give a call over there and say, can you please help us? And I used to do that work, so I know they can. So we have all those options, but people who just want to go to, an all-inclusive somewhere and they got less than 2 weeks, that's not something really where you're going to call the congressional, typically not to do that.
Let's hope
So,
not.
no, but it happens a lot. I think that just a lot of people think that things just happen like this and then on top of it, you tell them that the US Department of State still requires a check or a money order, and that just throws them way up. Anybody else have any questions?
Heidi?
Just one addition to the passport issue is also, depending on people's travel time and where they're going, some countries require that your passport be active for at least 6 months.
If you go out of the country, except for Canada or Mexico, they probably don't care. You have to have 6 months remaining on your passport. So remember that. And they're serious about it. They can refuse. Yeah, thank you for that reminder. A lot of people don't know that.
I don't want to be stuck with any
Yeah.
else.
Any other questions for Sue?
Thank you.
Thanks, Sue.
Thanks.
Okay, Tom, IT.
Evening, you have my report. There is one item specifically that I wanted to address, and that is a policy that I sent the committee a few weeks back, I believe. And that's our device encryption policy. That's something that I submitted as a draft to you all and provided a summary because the policy itself is a little technical, so the summary kind of breaks it down a bit. But to summarize the summary, the policy itself is being implemented to ensure the county has documented guidance on the use of various encryption technologies to protect county's data, information resources, and other confidential information. So I would ask if you could please just review the email, kind of digest the policy a little bit, and reach out to me if you have any questions, concerns prior to May, because I would like to bring that forward as a resolution to adopt that formally. So along with the policy, that's part of this corrective action plan that we did receive from the state as a result of the IT audit. There's also cybersecurity training plan that I'm going to be implementing in the next couple of weeks, and a data classification inventory, which was also requested from the auditors, which has been completed. So once we get these two last pieces finished up, that'll close the loop on our corrective action plan. So that's that. If there's any other questions or on my report, I'd be happy to answer them.
No questions? All right, very good. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, Kevin Swab with Veterans. You there, sir? Can see the name.
Sorry, I gotta hit the right buttons.
Welcome.
Greetings. All right, so my report as submitted. Big thing that's coming up. So we're waiting for the public hearing on the Cold War veteran exemption. Looking forward to that and see if that moves forward. But big event coming up is the Wall That Heals there at the bottom from 13 to 17 September. I plan on rallying around that. It's a national asset that tours the country, and it's a replica of the Vietnam Veteran Wall down in Washington, D.C. And so I'm working with the Vietnam Veteran Association, other veteran groups and community groups to get volunteer support to back that. So that's what we're going to be working towards as a significant event this year. Other than that, just continuing to assist veterans as we see them and finding them out in the community.
All right, any questions for Mr. Swab? I don't hear any, so thank you, sir. Have a good night.
Thanks, Kev.
Okay, so we have three resolutions. GO1 is the pension reporting resolution for elected and appointed officials. GO2 is amending the Cayuga County emergency closing policy. GO3 is approving the collective bargaining agreement for Cayuga Community College. I don't know how you guys want to go about it, if you want to take them one at a time, or if you'd like to offer them as a bundle. I'll leave it to the committee's discretion.
Bundle, Lydia.
We have a motion. Can I have a second, please?
Second.
Second by Aileen. Discussion on the bundle. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Put me down for number one against.
Mr. Petcher, let the record reflect, Mr. Petcher voted no on GO one. Further discussion? All right, motion to adjourn, please.
Move it.
Motion second. Yeah, okay. Have a good night.
Hey, I got a question. If I take it. Planning started in 5 minutes and I burn stuff in it.
Yeah, burn that. It can't be in here 3 feet. 3 feet. 3 feet.
All
$200. What's another $200 at this point? Like, we might as well be comfortable. And one of them is still here.
Chambers is unmuted.
I gave you two.
Was that you? Yes, that was me. Letting you guys know it's unmuted. Oh, it's unmuted.
Hey, everybody, the mute is off, just so everybody knows. Don't be swearing now. Behave yourself, Kelly.
I don't blame you.
No.
On, hello? Is that the airline we're looking at? It's okay.
Did I give you a copy of those?
No.
Okay.
I do actually, I'm curious about it. So you're gonna want to change is highlighted? Is that how I read this?
Some of it, like, so the comments are.
Okay, yeah, I know. Okay.
Yeah, you can take my place anytime you'd like.
Right, shall we get started, Manning, please?
Well, that's up to you. You're the.
Damn right. Pledge allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the
United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. James on the line still, maybe? No.
Still up there.
Media, Mark. All right, minutes to approve.
Move 'em, Mark.
Second.
Second, Christina. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. There's no appointments this month. Mr. Lynch, planning.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. You have a very detailed report from me, so I won't really add anything to my report. If you have any questions, please let me know. The only thing I will share with you is the Cayuga County Development Corporation out of our office just finished their approving their financial audit for 2022. It was a very clean audit. Everything was good. And all of the New York State reporting on the authority has been done, and it's been done on time. So just letting you know that that annual milestone has been reached. If anyone has any questions on my report, I'm available.
Mr. Chairman.
Mark?
I would like to inform the committee that Mr. Lynch and I have worked very diligently on the water inspection program of Wasco Lake. Every one of us understands the importance of the water source to our county. And I would like to ask Mr. Lynch if you could explain where we are at in the process.
Sure, I'd be happy to. Following last month's legislative cycle, what we did in our office was we prepared a request for quotes with a specific scope of work that encompasses all of the historic data that has been collected all these years, and put that in a format of a request for fee quotes. We sent that out today, the 12th, I believe is today, and it is due on the 26th. We sent it to 3 entities, Upstate Freshwater Institute, Finger Lakes Institute out of Hobart and William Smith, and Citizen Science Institute in Ithaca. We also sent it to the Great Lakes Research Center, which is affiliated with SUNY ESF. They informed us that they don't have the buoy to do that type of work, but they are putting it on their listserv, which might generate other interest in responding to the RFQ. Quotes are due by mail and sealed envelopes in our office on the 26th of April, which is a Wednesday, 2 weeks from today. And we hope to take that information and put it into a resolution that can be brought back to the legislative cycle in May for a vote on moving forward with water quality. And I'll just add that the scope of work does include a requirement to get the buoy a buoy out on the lake to do the data analysis and collection starting on June 1st through October. Typically, it's from May to, typically it's from May to October. This will be June to October.
Thank you for that, Mr. Lynch.
Any questions?
This is regarding the buoy. And so the buoy that's out there now belongs to the
Finger Lakes Institute at Hobart
Right.
Mines.
So they'll be removed, it's theirs.
I don't believe it's out now. It's typically put out around this time. They take it out for the winter time. Yeah. And if they don't use it there, they'll put it in another lake, most likely. Okay, thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks, Steve. Thanks, Steve. Kelly?
Good evening, everybody. Couple of things I want to add to my report that I did not have. Well, first, I'm going to start off by kind of echoing what Sue Dwyer was saying in the Department of Motor Vehicles, how it's been busier. I can also say the same thing for our office. We were up well over 100 people coming in, which it's refreshing to go up in the front in the resource room and see activity. We hadn't seen quite that much since pre-COVID. So things are definitely changing, seeing more people off the streets. If you come in at any time, you'll see people at the computers now. We hadn't seen that in a while. So that is it's a good thing for us. That being said, we've readdressed the disruptive customer policy that we talked a little bit about last month, that we have in the computer system where we can identify someone who's disruptive right off the bat. And then the process following that, we have kind of buttoned it up a little bit. We've identified who will come up. We did have a situation a week ago. I did handle that myself. Campus security was on site, so I was happy about that. And also 2 Auburn police officers did respond fast. So being that we have more customers coming in, we are going to have more of these issues, but it was handled very well, and happy that campus security was on site, and it went smoother than it had previously. So kudos to campus safety at CCC and also the Auburn Police Department. Couple of other things I want to add. We are really looking with the Department of Labor how we can improve our service delivery for job seekers, but also for businesses, because we're still identifying companies that just cannot fill positions. And why is that? Why are they suffering filling these positions? So the Department of Labor launched a survey for job seekers. We have a URL code. Job seekers that are coming in, we're having them scan the code, easy on their phones. They fill out the survey basically saying, what are my needs as a job seeker? Because previously, really, I think COVID changed the workforce in terms of needs of job seekers. Their needs have changed, and they're different than they used to be. So these surveys are identifying this, job seekers are filling it out. And then next week, we're going to launch the employer survey and then try to align what the needs are of job seekers and what businesses can offer and how they can maybe change their business. And I think that will help fill some of the positions that employers have had a hard time doing. So this is a new thing. We just launched the survey this week for job seekers. Next week, we'll do businesses. And that is not in my report. So I did want to add that tonight. Another thing that's not in my report, as well as kind of some of our youth programming that we're doing. Today, myself and Debbie Dennis from the Youth Bureau met with Dr. Durant and his team at CCC, and we're really ramping up on our partnerships and collaboration for youth programming. And I'm very happy to be working closer with the college on some of these things. It's been great, and I see a lot of opportunity moving forward. I'll continue to update everybody on our youth programming. Along with that, we're kicking off our summer youth employment program. I know it's only April, but our applications have gone out to all area high schools, all the guidance offices, Booker T. Washington, YMCA, and all the places that we do recruit our youth from. We're also doing job site development. Wegmans this year is on board. First time Wegmans has ever wanted to be a job site. Schweinfurth Art Museum, Art Center, previously participated years ago. I think 2012 might have been the last year. They're also on board along with the rescue mission and their homeless program for, I think it's over on Milliman, over in that area. So they're on board with us this year as well. So this is great increase in work sites. And That's nice to see because number one, we try to match the kids with what they're interested in. And we have some kids that are interested in the arts, and we haven't had an opportunity to place them in such a place. Wegmans also hires youth, so this is a great connection there as well. So we're moving along with our worksite development, which is refreshing as well. Transfer VR headsets, I put that in my report at the bottom. I'm happy to say that the Department of Labor has purchased 15 of these virtual reality headsets. So there's been some controversy on, do we like the idea of using these? We did not want to purchase them ourselves until we had training and to see the value of that. But the Department of Labor purchased them for 4 offices in the central region, which would be Cayuga, Cortland, Onondaga, and Oswego County. So we are sharing 15 of them. However, I do not really see there being a huge conflict because when we use these, we will probably have it as a planned event, not something where you're just going to grab the headset and do something like that. So that being said, with the headsets, business engagement, I think is going to be big because we can use these for career fairs, industry exploration, working with employers to assist on onboarding, training, reskilling, and upskilling of incumbent workers. So there's a benefit to businesses as well as to job seekers and for career center staff. I think that youth program is going to benefit from this a lot because we can do some work experiences that they may not have had exposure to. So if you think about safety in terms of learning a job and you look at healthcare, for example, this is a safe way to learn a skill and practice a skill, but it's not in reality, but it feels pretty close to reality for them. They can stock grocery shelves through virtual reality. Who would have thought? Is it another version of a video game experience? Not necessarily. It doesn't have to be that way. It allows for a lot of exploration that they may not have had opportunity otherwise. If you look at even traveling the world, if we are low income and we don't have those abilities and privileges and you can't visit places, this is the closest thing you might be able to do. So they're building that even into curriculums in schools. As you can take a field trip and you go here or there, you would maybe never have had that opportunity. So we're opening our minds up to the virtual reality headsets, and they have arrived. I've identified 2 or 3 members of my team to become trained on those headsets shortly, and then we'll be able to use those and sign those out. And I would like to see it as an industry exposure event relatively soon after we have those, so that we can do some, if we can do a manufacturing virtual reality series, something like that. I think that that's going to be very helpful in our youth programs, especially. Another quick update. We have been putting together some youth workshops, soft skills, right? So you talk to businesses all the time and their biggest thing is soft skills and retention, because the grownups and youth alike are lacking in soft skills. My staff have been putting together a series of soft skills workshops, and I have a classroom at BOCES who is willing to let us come in the month of May. It's kind of a downtime for them until the end of the year. We're going to practice our workshops, our public speaking youth workshop, and our soft skills series in this classroom at BOCES. So that gives us a captive audience in a classroom full, because it is hard for us sometimes to get youth to come in and participate. So they really don't have a choice because it's part of their school day, but also gives us a chance to practice it and tweak it and modify it. So I'm excited. We're going to do that in the month of May. So that pretty much sums up my report. Do you have any questions?
Thank you. I deal with soft skills every day because I'm an executive recruiter, but probably many people in the room don't know what that means. So you're talking communication skills, right? I'm guessing it's number 1.
Correct. Right. So you have hard skills and soft skills, right? So soft skills would be more along the lines of communication, hygiene, attitude, all of those things that are frankly more important sometimes than the hard skills, because you're going to go to a company and you're going to be a machine operator. You can learn that skill relatively easy because it's cut and dry, black and white, and we're going to train you to do that. It is very hard to teach somebody soft skills and how to communicate effectively and how to act appropriately and respond appropriately, have a good attitude, come to work on time, all of those things. I mean, if we talk about one of the bigger employers in this county, comes to me and says, you can't keep anybody. They come to work and, you know, the way they're dressed and all of these things, they don't come on time. They didn't learn that. You know, they don't teach that in school, you know, in my opinion. They're not really focusing on that in K through 12 as much as they probably should be, because in the real world, when we come out, we have to be able to interact with people and not be on our phones and not speak in text dialogue. And all of those things are addressed in our soft skills series for youth. And we modify that for our DSS customers, for our safety netters, for our adults coming in. We can modify it to anybody, but for the youth, that's where we have to start. So I'm working with folks now that you know, they could have benefited from that when they were in school, and it doesn't happen. So yes, that's essentially what soft skills are. Thank you. You're welcome.
Heidi?
Kelly, this isn't related to your report, but I'm bringing it up because you work on the community college campus. I wanted to let everybody know that SUNY Chancellor just announced this afternoon that they are lifting the emergency COVID vaccine mandate starting the summer session, 2023 summer session. So vaccines are no longer required for any SUNY school, including our community colleges.
Yes, I did see that as well.
Anyone else? Thank you, Kelly. Thanks, Kelly. Miller?
Mr. Shea? Oh, never mind. He came back.
Good evening, everyone. Hope everyone is doing well. Well, you do have my full report. I'll go over the highlights here. To date, we've assisted existing businesses 25, entrepreneurs of 37, as requested by legislator Patty Ruffini. We're now going to start reporting on business locations of assistance moving forward.
Appreciate it.
So for the month of March, the breakdown we have is 13 for Auburn, 3 in Aurelius, 1 in Brutus and Fleming and Mentz, 2 in Moravia, 2 in Senate, and 1 Sterling. And we're looking to build on this throughout the year and to continue to, you know, make sure we're getting exposure throughout the county as well. One of the things I'm proud to say is we have a full staff here at CETA after a bit of a wait here. I think a lot of people in this room have had a chance to meet with them most recently. This includes Lauren LaGreca, our new marketing manager, Jeff King, our new analyst, and a name that might be familiar to some in this room here is Katie Moran, is our bookkeeper and office manager. At the beginning of Albany, I attended the New York Economic Development Conference. This was held out in Albany, as I said. One of the things I learned while I was out there that I thought would be of note for everybody is the state's continued and growing interest in renewable power. A lot of us in this room are aware of all the solar projects that have been coming into New York. That's been very, very purposeful on the state. So there's a ton of incentives out there. New York is looking to become one of the largest renewable producers of power in the nation here. So the expectation that I took away from that is we're going to continue getting these inquiries for solar development in particular, but this also includes wind and battery production as well. Moving on from that, we had our economic forecast luncheon last week or 2 weeks ago now to Springside Inn. I do thank those of you who had a chance to make it there. We felt the event was very well attended. Very excited to bring that back. And one of the things we're looking to do moving forward this year is on a more monthly schedule is to begin hosting roundtable discussions with focused efforts around what's important to the business community and making sure we're bringing the right folks into the room to help advise those who are looking for guidance on a variety of topics, local resources, not just here in the county, but at the state and regional level, as well as developing opportunities as well. So I'm going to be very excited to also discuss that going into our next meeting here. Our CETA team, a number of our members took a trip up to Fairhaven yesterday, met with a number of businesses as well as the Fairhaven Chamber of Commerce as well. It was a full day up there with 4 members of our staff, not only meeting a number of businesses, but locale as well. This is again part of our efforts to make sure we're getting out throughout the community here. And it's part of something we're going to be doing on a monthly basis, is making sure we're getting in touch with everyone throughout the county here. And so far, I've heard some great feedback on that. Well, from the IDA side of things here, the Cayuga IDA, we are moving along on the sewer project over in the Aurelius Industrial Park. We had our bid opening on April 7th. We received a good handful of bids. We'll be looking to make a decision on that for proceeding forward over the next month here. This is again a very large project well in excess of $1 million. And it's also very important to the tenants of the IDA Park, that being Dunkelbeck and Cayuga Milk Ingredients as well. Similar to what Mr. Lynch had mentioned, we were also going through financial audits and state reporting audits over the month of April. Are completed, and there's always a good amount of effort that goes into any one audit, but we've gotten through it thus far through here. Lastly, we've continued working with our partners, again, Mr. Lynch, Jenny Haynes, and a handful of others as well, on site selection and identification. What we're going to be doing from our office after going through a number of different parcels, to put together a number of potential parcels that my staff and I are going to be inquiring on for interest and development, obviously. So that this is something we're going to be putting some serious effort into over the next couple of months. That's everything I have for this evening here. Any questions?
Trish?
Yeah, we've had a couple of presentations sponsored by Capusa about public power opportunities and partnerships in this county, looking at sites across the county for those opportunities. And I'm just curious if you're engaged in those conversations at all. I would hope that there would be some level of coordination versus siloing of those key pieces of economic development.
Sure. So I'll put this one on myself here, Bob, because I did have the opportunity to attend a Capusa meeting back in the fall, but due to everything else we've had going on at CETA over the last several months, I have personally not stayed in as close contact with Capusa and its chairman to make sure our efforts are aligned as best possible. But they've always been sitting out there, I'll say, as right here. I haven't come across yet a particular effort to immediately pull them in, but as you said, making sure that we're staying in step with our partners over at Capusa, yes, to increase those efforts.
And I would just say that's bi-directional, and because Capusa may be playing a larger role in economic development in this county, I would love to see some regular reporting to the planning committee so that we're up to speed on what's going on, that there's some level of transparency there, and that our partners are hearing that information at least monthly about those developments.
Sure.
I'll just put that out there to the chair for consideration.
Okay, noted. Anything else for Mike? Lydia?
Mike, thank you for the reporting addition. How would a legislator go about asking CETA to come visit one of their local businesses?
Give us a phone call.
Okay.
We're happy to do that. So that there's 2 different ways. Either we initiate that contact ourselves, which we're going to be doing more and more. That was part of the reason our staff visited Sue Dwyer's office today. We wanted to make sure she had the most updated information. But part of the list that we received from her office of those DVAs being filed is we want to start an outreach program. So when that information is coming in, that we're starting that contact and knowing where those folks are getting set up. But at the same time, we're also depending on legislators and other municipal leaders, please help spread the word of what we can do. So, obviously just give us a call. We're happy to, come to any part of the county and have a chat, see what we can do.
Great, thank you.
Anybody else? Thank you, Mike.
Yes, Chairman Shea, can you hear me?
Yep, go ahead.
Yeah. So both Trish and Lydia stole some of my thunder, but that's good. I just did want to talk about Capooso and the important role that they could be playing here in the future with power in Cayuga County. So Trish, thank you for bringing that up. And Mike, thank you for your group coming up to District 1 and to the Village of Fairhaven, meeting with the chamber. I'm sorry I couldn't make that meeting, but I'm surely looking forward to the feedback from some of the businesses that attended. So thank you for doing that.
Our pleasure.
All right, thank you, Mike. Thanks, Mike.
Good evening, everybody.
Hey, Doug, how are you?
Brought in some of our reports. We finally finished it. I know we always mean to get them out earlier, but it takes a little while to compile things. So it's our annual report. I leave them up here because if I hand them out now, then everybody starts to look at them and it gets distracting a little bit. But finally finished the latest and greatest edition. It's for some of the work that we've done. You've heard me come up and talk about some of the projects we complete. Well, this is an opportunity to see what some of those look like. I try and keep it where there's a lot of pictures because I think they explain quite a bit more than just some of the descriptions. Keep the description simple, but then really show what kind of effort goes into somebody. So hard copies are here. Help yourself. Take as many as you want. Feel free to give them to anybody. If we can keep some here at the county too, in case people have questions, that'd be great. In case people wonder what we're working on, we can't put one together every year. So it's our annual report for the work we did in 2022. It'll also be on our website. So if you like the digital version or want to share that, feel free to go to our website as well. We'll have it posted there. A couple quick things that didn't make it into the report because they were just in the process of finishing up now. You probably saw the announcement that $370,000 is coming to the Finger Lakes region for cover crops. That's going to be evenly divided between the 11 counties. So it's going to need about roughly $32,000, give or take, for implementation dollars to go right on the ground for cover crops. So that equates to, depends on the species of cover crop, but it's going to be about 400 and anywhere from like 400 to maybe 440 acres worth of cover crops that are going to go in that the state approached us for funding. So big time of year for funding. We got some grants out that they're going to be doing May and June, working with the landowners on that. Finishing up right now with Glen Haven Road. I don't know if Public Works Committee had already met yet, but Brian may have mentioned it, but we've been doing a project for them for the last week or so down on Glen Haven Road and Skinny Atlas Lake, a little bank stabilization project. We just got a little roll of rose control blankets and a seed to do tomorrow morning. And then that one's done and we can move on. Weather's been great, so we can actually, things are drying out pretty well. And then just lastly, the district did attend, the staff attended a statewide water quality symposium back in March. Over 300 state employees meet all in one place. We get to talk about what other districts are doing, what they're seeing, what they're encountering, and really get a chance to share information. It's a Tuesday through Friday type of event with a lot of different trainings and hands-on type of, you're almost doing a lot of calculations and numbers. So it's a great event. We do it annually. It's the first time we were able to meet in person since COVID hit. So it was good to see everybody again. With that, I'll be glad to take any questions that you may have.
Sure. Yeah, just a comment. I read that your pamphlet today. That's great. It really is. I just like everybody to take it because you look at the before and after, and it's unbelievable the work you did. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Most of you probably don't realize there's a road in my district, Helens Island Road, that has one exit. If you can't use the road, you're swimming out. These folks helped Brian from Highway Department get a quick permit so that a road could be fixed because the road was falling apart. The culvert was sinking or something, and residents were concerned. If you weren't going to be able to get out, if you had a concern about somebody in your family being sick, emergency vehicles not being able to access you in case of a fire, these are huge concerns.
So thank you very much for helping with that.
Yeah, glad we can help.
Questions for Doug?
Thanks, Doug.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good evening, everyone. So a little deviation from my report. I wanted to start out this evening and just introduce one of our newer members to our staff, Frank Clark. Frank's our new ag environmental sustainability educator, who's going to be working on nutrient management education with farmers, some applied research projects, potential as we look at climate change, adaptation and mitigation, being part of that mix of things that farmers need to worry about. Frank will be doing that. He recently completed the first test for his certified crop advisor credential, which states that he knows a whole lot of things about crops and will be able to help farmers with that. And also just completed a 3-day nutrient management planning workshop. A little more than a workshop because it was 3 days, but down in Ithaca. So first thing, I do notice I made a mistake on my report doing the April report of the first event there. What actually happened in March. So my mistake there, but we did have a meeting there on March 15th up in Cato with about 40 farmers on how they could assess the nutrient value in their manure, proper application, proper timing, all important things when it comes to using that resource as a fertilizer and protecting water quality. And this was in Doug's report, working with his folks and several other ag organizations. Next Tuesday from 1 to 3, we're having a workshop on tile drainage for farms out at the Soil and Water Conservation District office. We're going to have a researcher from the University of Vermont and from the Minor Institute up in Shazy in the northeastern part of the state, talk about some of the work they've seen there. There's a lot of conversation about tiles right now, and we don't have a lot of good New York state specific or Finger Lake specific research. So some of the things that have been said have been studies that are coming out of the Midwest or the Plains, Oklahoma, Texas, where soils are very different, precipitation profiles are very different. So we want to start looking at that before we start pointing out what may or may not be a problem. Some of you probably saw in the newspaper, there was an outbreak of highly pathogenic avian influenza at the Reynolds Game Farm in Ithaca. That is DEC's facility for raising all the pheasants that are stocked throughout the state for hunting in the fall. So those birds all unfortunately had to be depopulated. And the state's looking at some alternatives for what to do about hunting. We won't be doing our day-old chick pheasant distribution program this year. So that's something to look, just have in the back of your mind. All of our, well, the ringneck pheasants are not native to New York. So they have to be stocked every year. They don't have great survivability through the winter. And as the number of predators have increased over the last 50 years, less and less of them make it through. So that's why there's a stocking program for those. We finished up our Ag Literacy Week meeting for the most part. I want to thank legislator Patty Ruffini for leading to a group of second graders
our book this year. And then,
Tomatoes for Neela.
yes, Tomatoes for Neela was the book. All the classrooms, after they read the book, each of the kids got to plant either tomato or
Tomato and basil.
and basil. Okay, there was enough for both.
Yes.
Yeah, so they'll be able to hopefully, by the end of the school year, take those home with them and plant them at home. One final thing, I wanted to point out, especially with the weather this week, we've been working with the sheriff and the county farm bureau to raise awareness on sharing the road with agricultural equipment and in certain parts of the county, horses and buggies. So just encouraging people to pay attention, slow down a little bit, be a little bit patient. The equipment, even since I first started driving tractor and stuff in high school, is very wide now. It's harder to get around. You can't see all the times if there's another vehicle coming. So you'll be seeing more of that. I did a radio interview this morning with WAUB. There'll be signs up throughout the county. So as we move through planning and then into harvest season. So all I have.
Okay.
Any questions?
Yeah, I just wanted to welcome Frank aboard. Frank, and Shireen's trying to grow a garden. Will you help her, please? Thanks. Thanks, Dan.
Yeah. I also have flyers for that tile drainage and some little pamphlets on slow moving vehicles that I'll leave up here.
Thank you, Dan. Thanks. Tourism, is somebody here from speak from tourism?
Yes.
Okay.
For those of you who don't know me, I'm Claire Dunlap. I'm the Director of Marketing and Sales for the Cayuga County Tourism Office. And I'm here for Karen tonight. She wanted me to point out just a couple of things on her report. We have, our board has approved contracting with Revpar International for a lodging feasibility study. So that will kick off next week with a meeting for next steps in that process. We have a new website that has launched. It's a light version, as we had to get it up pretty quickly, but we're proud of it. It's a little bit bolder, a little bit brighter, hoping to set us apart in the Finger Lakes while still being that cohesiveness of the Finger Lakes identity. So we're working on phase 2 of launching more of those pages and information. For our communications, they continue to have above average open rates and click-through rates. So we're very excited to see an engaged and increasing audience for our communications. Groups is part of my market. We've been doing quite a bit of trade shows. We've attended ADA, American Bus Association, Heartland, and the African American Travel Conference so far. We have 2 more scheduled in the coming months. And just last week, this is not in the report, but I wanted to say that I received an RFP for the annual summer conference of Council of Probation Administrators. So we're working hard to position Cayuga County to host more meetings and conferences along that vein. So we're excited that those are coming in. Lastly, we talked a little bit about workforce. I want to highlight that we are hiring for a public relations position, looking for media and general PR. So if anybody.
We're on the wrong side? Okay.
Yes, Jim, you're on the wrong side. That is posted on our LinkedIn and Indeed. If you would like the link, please contact our office. We're spreading the word to get that position hired. Also not in the report, but I wanted to highlight because we are very proud of the work that we're doing in the DEI field in travel and tourism.
Jim,
It's fun.
can you please mute your phone?
Let it go.
Kind of scary. We did that with Mike once, remember?
Good timing.
So last thing, so we did put out a press release. Hopefully you've seen that the tourism office has been awarded the first level of certification through
Just listening to a meeting.
committee. Our work in increasing inclusivity and diversity in the world of travel. So we are very excited to continue our work and to be seen as leaders in the travel industry of how DMOs, TPAs, and destinations should be looking at this framework. I also want to echo a couple of the comments that our office had a meeting with CETA. It was very nice to get acquainted with the new staff and see where our efforts can align and collaborate without duplication, and just make sure that we're all working together towards development and economics. Any questions?
Great job. Thank you.
Thank you.
No question?
Thank you.
Thank you, Claire.
Thanks, John.
Okay, there's no resolution. Better adjourn before. Need a motion to adjourn.
Doesn't move. Harry, trying to end this thing really quickly.
It is beautiful out. We all need to get back outside.
Wait a second. I have more to say.
Too late, we're adjourned.